Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Broken Branch Wood Shop. My name is Mark. Today, we got a little shop project, and what we're going to be doing, we have a Laguna 1216 lathe, and we are going to be changing out the bearings in both bearings, the big one and the small one, in the head here. And I just wanted to give you just real quick before we do some of the things you're going to need going into this. First and foremost, it's not necessary to have a magnetic ring when you're getting ready to change out these bearings, but the magnetic ring is a very delicate piece, and if you do mess it up while changing out your bearings and you don't have one, now you're stuck until one comes in. So I do recommend that you go ahead and have one on standby. Luckily, when we just changed these, as you'll see here in just a second, we didn't mess ours up, thankfully, so I will keep this one for future reference. But you are going to need your bearings, again, magnetic ring, and a couple of tools. You're going to need a rubber mallet, a pair of pliers, it stuck to the magnet, a flathead screwdriver, and a number 3 millimeter Allen key. I would recommend one long like this, not so much for in here, but once you get in the box, definitely need that. One other thing you may want to grab, I ended up using a piece of wood. I've got one bigger piece and a skinnier piece that I ended up having to use to help tap out the bearing on this side, and then even whenever I was putting them back in, to kind of help tap it in there. But that's all you need to make sure you have those items, and you should be good to go. This is not a hard process, but with written instructions, it did. I wished I would have had a video. I couldn't find one anywhere, so I told my wife we're definitely going to make one because I couldn't find one on how to change these bearings out. And so hopefully this will be a help to you. And so here we go.
So first thing we got to do is get these two set screws taken out of the end handle here. And as soon as we get those out, you're just going to depress the red lock button there, and then you can screw that right on out. As soon as you get that screwed out, your next step is going to be to get the belt taken off. So we're just going to loosen this tension handle here. Just like if you were going to adjust the belt, you're just going to slide it all the way off of that end right there on the left and just let it sit. Next, you're going to take these set screws from the spindle. These are in there pretty tight, so that's where I was talking about, having the long handle there, because it took a good bit of pressure to get these to pop loose. But once you get them pop loose, they'll turn right on out. Next thing you want to do, this is where your rubber mallet's going to come in. You don't want to hit it hard, just some light taps on the end there, and that's going to go ahead and get that spindle pushed out. And once that breaks free, your outside bearing there is just going to be really loose, and it's going to slide right on out, no problem. There we go. And now, once that slides out of the pulley wheels there, you're going to see the key right there. You're just going to reach in and pull that out with those pliers. And then you can see right there the magnetic ring. And so this is the delicate part we were talking about earlier. You don't want to rush this. Just take that flathead screwdriver. It's only going to move to the left. It sits on a shoulder. And you're just going to spin the spindle around and just slowly push that off with your flathead screwdriver. Don't rush it. Just take your time, and there it goes. Comes right on off. No problem. Once that comes off, you're ready to pull the spindle out now. Now, if you're only changing your belt out, you can stop right here, change your belt out, and reassemble. But we're changing out these bearings, and so now it's for the inside bearing. This one's in there pretty good, and so had to use a little bit of persuasion to get it out. You can see just looking through there, I took a scrap piece of wood. Somebody out there say, hooray, we used a scrap piece of wood. It's been sitting there waiting to be used for a while, so I figured, hey, why not stick it in there? Sits right up against it, and then just give it some light taps with that rubber mallet, and there it goes, pops right out, no problem. And what we're going to do is go ahead and start reassembling. And so we're going to place that new bearing in, and again with that rubber mallet. You don't want to try to do this without a rubber mallet. You don't want to damage anything. Seats right back up in there, no problem. And then next, this one was really, really tight. And so I did use just a little bit of grease on there, and that slid it right up in there. You do want to go ahead and get these on before you assemble your spindle. I did not do that on the first step, so you'll notice here in just a second, right there, you'll see that the bearing is not on. When we filmed this, we actually had to take it out and put the bearing back on. But now you want to slide that magnetic ring and get it set back up by that shoulder, and you may have to pull it out just a little bit more to get the wheelhouse on there, the pulley wheel on there, but then you'll slide it back up on that shoulder and get it slid away from where the key goes in. You got to find that middle ground there to where it's pulled out far enough away from the pulley, but also to have that magnetic ring set up on that shoulder, and get it spun around there. And we'll put the key back in. There we are, trying to get it set back where it needs to go. I used the pliers so that my hand wasn't in the way, but this key just sits in there, and you can put it in with your fingers. There's no problem. Once you put it in, you're going to spin the pulley wheel around until you find that slot for it to go in, which should be where one of your set screws goes, and there it is. It just slid right back in. No problem there either. Here's where an extra set of hands is going to come in handy. That little spring on that magnet part needs to be kind of compressed in with the pulley wheel, and so, but it tries to push the spindle back out. So my wife's giving me a hand here, just kind of putting a little bit of pressure on there. You can see when I'm trying to close the gap there, it's pushing out, so she's giving me a hand. Can it be done? Yes. All you'd really have to do is the easy way would just put your tailstock up there and lock it down, put some pressure on it. But I had an extra set of hands there, so I used it. And now we're just going to reattach the end here, our hand spindle there. I thought it was in there all the way, but I had to turn it just a little bit further. There it went. And get that locked down as tight as it'll go, and all you got to do is go ahead and reset your or reapply your set screws to where that doesn't move. Guess I could have made this part just a little bit shorter. But yep, just two of those there, reassembling that, and that's all you got to do. Too easy. And now we're just going to put our belt back on. Again, slide it over that left end and lock it back down, just like if you were swapping your speeds there. So let's give it a try. way quieter. Way quieter. I wish I'd have shot it before, just to show you the difference. It's back to whisper again.